Welcome to AP World History Video Podcast. This is for topic 1.3, Developments in South and Southeast Asia. The essential question: how did various beliefs and practices in South and Southeast Asia affect society and the development of states? South Asia, India, Sri Lanka here. And here you have Southeast Asia, right? Pay attention to the maps, please. Topic number 1, political structures in South Asia. South Asia was occasionally united as a single state in its history. After the Gupta dynasty that had dominated South Asia collapsed, this ended the so-called Golden Age of Indian history, and disunity returned for most of the next 1,000 years. Northern and southern India developed separate political structures. So there's a big theme right there to grab, right? However, Hinduism provided some cultural unity throughout the region. Many people combined their own local faith tradition with adherence to the same scriptures and core beliefs respected throughout the region. So you kind of get some like a hybrid here with religion and culture and belief systems, right? Subtopic A, political structures in southern India. Southern India was more stable than northern India. Another big idea to grab. The first kingdom, okay, the Chul dynasty. I know it doesn't look like it's pronounced Chul, but the A is silent. It reigned over southern India for more than 400 years. During the 11th century, the dynasty extended its rule to Ceylon. It's a large island just south of India. Today it's known as Sri Lanka. Now, from a historical perspective, that's actually recent. I mean, it's been in my lifetime. I believe, I think the early 1970s it changed to Sri Lanka. Okay, please look at the maps. I got 5 takeaways for you. The second kingdom, Vijayanagara, took its name from the victorious city. It began with the arrival of 2 brothers, Harihara and Bukka, from the Delhi Sultanate in north-central India. This causes a lot of confusion with these brothers, so pay attention to this because they kind of do a double switch. They're born Hindus. Then they convert to Islam, but they didn't convert for spiritual reasoning or religious reasons. They did what a lot of people did. Islam was attractive because it offered opportunity. It offered upward mobility. What doesn't a caste system offer? Upward mobility, right? Opportunity. So when they left the region controlled by the Delhi Sultanate, they went back to their Hindu roots and they established their own kingdom. Vijayanagara, their empire, existed from the mid-1300s until the mid-1500s. Then a group of Muslim kingdoms overthrew it. Here's an illustration here of the brothers. Please lock these in, know who they are. You should be able to identify, when you're doing a DBQ or something like that, just looking at this, even if you don't remember their names, it should kind of trigger, hey, I think we're talking about India. I think these are the guys that were Hindu. They converted to Islam. They went back to Hindu. Should trigger that. So the illustrations are important. Okay, subtopic B, political structures in northern India. Northern India experienced a great deal more upheaval than did southern India. Okay, that's a big idea to take with you. After the fall of the Gupta Empire, the Rajput Kingdoms gradually formed in northern India and present-day Pakistan. These were Hindu kingdoms led by leaders of numerous clans who were often at war with one another. So because they're at war with one another, they kind of made themselves vulnerable to a foreign attack, right? So they were vulnerable to Muslim attacks, right? The old divide and conquer is even easier when they divide themselves. Okay, subtopic B, political structures in northern India. I got 4 takeaways for you. In the early 13th century, Islamic forces managed to conquer the city of Delhi and the and much of northern South Asia. This brings Islam into India. The Delhi Sultanate reigned for 300 years, from the 13th to the 16th century. The Delhi Sultanate prevented the Mongols themselves from conquering South Asia. However, in 1526, the Sultans lost power to a new empire, the Mughals, whose leaders did trace their ancestry to the Mongols. I'll talk more about the similarities and differences between the Mongols and the Mughals later on. Common mistake, I'll clear it up. Topic number 2, religion in South Asia. Religion always held a dominant place in South Asian history. Before the arrival of Islam, most South Asians practiced Hinduism, while a smaller number identified themselves as Buddhist. South Asians encountered a starkly different religion when Islam arrived. Hindus, for example, prayed to many gods. What do we call that? That's polytheistic. Islam was strictly monotheistic, one God. Hindu temples and artwork are fill up these temples. That was the thing. In Islam, they disapprove of any kind of visual representation of Allah or the Prophet Muhammad, for that matter. Hinduism was associated with a hierarchical caste system, while Islam always called for the equality of all believers. And this is what's really appealing to a lot of Hindus. I can move up, maybe I can move my social status, maybe I can make more money, right? Hindus recognize several sacred texts, while Muslims, they only look at the Quran for spiritual guidance. Okay, the arrival of Islam, the relationship between Hindus and Muslims, shaped the history of South Asia beginning in the 7th century, and it continues to shape regional culture and politics today. Islam initially entered India forcefully, yet eventually took on a more peaceful approach. The old cliche, you get more bees with honey, right? So when people voluntarily came over, they found that it was an easier process and they got more converts. I got 5 takeaways for you on this. With its emphasis on the equality of all believers, Islam also attracted low-caste Hindus who hoped that conversion would improve their social status. In this sense, Islam is kind of like Christianity in the Roman Empire. Christianity appealed to people who are suffering under that existing social structure. So, this concept of a religion being appealing not so much on spiritual grounds, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but a lot of people jumped on these religions because it offered some upward mobility, it offered some opportunity. The largest numbers of converts to Islam, however, were Buddhist. Corruption among the monks and raids on monasteries by early Muslim conquerors left the Buddhist religion disorganized. The spread of Islam is going to help make Buddhism a minority religion in the place of its birth in India, which is another point I want to drive home. Very common mistake. A lot of people think Buddhism started and originated in China. That's not true. It's huge in China. However, it starts in India. It's going to make its way to China. We'll talk about that later too. But remember, India is the birthplace of Buddhism. The arrival of Islam did little to alter the basic structure of society in South Asia. So they were, the opportunity, the thought or the idea of this religion offering upward mobility is not working out in reality, and that happens a lot. India's caste system is its strongest historical continuity. Continuity is a big word for AP World History. Remember our AMSCO text, these lectures, it's thematic. We're not just going chronological. So one of the themes is continuity. Most of those who tried to escape the grip of the caste system failed. The low-caste Hindus who converted to Islam as a way to improve their social status usually did not achieve that goal. Converts to Islam in South and Southeast Asia found ways to accommodate a new faith, but most people did not reject their traditions in the process. So again, it's kind of a hybrid. They're not totally rejecting everything from their past. Check out the architecture here on the left. People in South Asia and the Middle East share their intellectual and cultural achievements with each other. Arab astronomers, mathematicians, they added to the body of knowledge that begun with their Indian counterparts, like the Arabic numeral system. When I was in high school, I learned about the Arabic numeral system, right? It wasn't until I got out of high school I read a series of books by Will and Ariel Durant, a married couple that traveled the world, called The Story of Civilization. And I remember reading in, I think it was the first volume, that really it originated in India. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So make sure you know that. If you look at the photo on the left, this is Qutub Minar. And if you notice here, the dome, you see Islamic architecture. If you look to our left, to the right of this building, you see Hindu architecture. So if you had to analyze this photo, that could be something you see in a DBQ. Even if you're blanking on the history, at the very least, by looking at it, you can analyze it and you can say, okay, this is Islamic architecture, this is Hindu architecture. Southeast Asia. Okay, so like China, South Asia strongly influenced its neighbors, particularly the lands of Southeast Asia. Please look at the map. Indochina, Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Who controlled this region could influence the valuable trade between South Asia and East Asia, right? Trade, money. So here's some kingdoms. These are sea-based kingdoms, and by looking at the map, you should know why they're sea-based kingdoms, right? So you have the, probably heard of the Khmer Rouge when we talk about Pol Pot much later in the course. But the Khmer Empire here has the Angkor Kingdom. And Khmer rulers become Buddhist. And they add Buddhist sculptures and artwork to the temples without destroying any of the Hindu artwork. So that was kind of cool. Something I want to clear up. I like our book. I like the AMSCO text. I think it's a more realistic text for us to use as far as how much we can actually read and what our actual life schedules are. But I didn't think the book explained this well enough, and it causes confusion. So I just want to clear it up. Angkor Wat is one of those things that comes up a lot in AP World History. When I'm in a training session or I'm in a book face group with about 5,500 AP World History teachers throughout the country. All these practice exams, different projects, things like champa rice always come up. People love talking about champa rice for some reason. And Angkor Wat's another one of those. So I want to clear something up. Is it an Islam? I'm sorry. Is it a Buddhist temple or is it a Hindu temple? Today it's a Buddhist temple. And please make sure you check out the photographs here. Make sure you know Angkor Wat. I've seen this on DBQs in the past. The reason people get confused is it originated as a Hindu temple. And you could kind of tell by the architecture that, oh, that's Hindu, but today it's Buddhist. Originally, it was to pay tribute to Vishnu. You see here on your left, a Hindu god. When it converted, I want to say around the 12th century. I could be wrong. Double check that. But I think somewhere around the 12th century. But anyway, the main point I want you to know is that it was a Hindu temple that converted to a Buddhist temple. Okay, that's it for 1.3. Please answer that essential question. I'll see you next time.